a better sensible name except keywords, or with a combination of keyword we can make something else. Okay, now, and we should all avoid having a variable and a function with the same name. Yes, yes, yes. If I'm calculating a maximum value, I have a variable called max, and also I'm writing a function max where it will take two input numbers, say 10 and 15. It will return the maximum. So function name is also max, variable name is also max. Try to avoid such things. And empty parenthesis after the name indicates function doesn't take any inputs or no parameters. The first line of the function definition is called the header. First line is called header, rest is called body. Function declaration, function header, function signature they call. Function header and body. The header has to end with a colon and the body has to be indented. What is that indented? I want in answer from students. What is indented? I'm expecting messages here. Ian says space. Okay. In particular, 4 space. If you calculate, 4 space it is. 1, see? Yeah, 4 space or tab. Tab. Sometimes tab works, sometimes doesn't tab work. All right. So quickly, why I say that, whatever the tool you use. So here I'm using one more Python, which is a interpreter again, but it is not IDLE. It is command prompt. Okay. So whenever I'm defining the same similar print twice function, when I do a colon, when I enter, see here what is happening. Oh, I have to put a parenthesis and colon. See, my cursor is not having that space. I have to give 4 space explicitly. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then print. And then print. So which tool you are making use? I think tab will work here. I am not very sure. One tab, maybe, yeah, 4. Usually tab is 8 spaces sometime or 4 spaces. So it is operating system specific. So tab is not always a good option. 4 space, that is what they say. So, but try to use, being, electrical and mechanical students, let's not go in detail, but try to use a better tool so that it gives that indentation automatically so that your life will become easy. Okay. So in this command prompt, it didn't give any space, but in this case, it gave. So try to use such things. Moving forward, intended by convention, indentation is always 4 spaces. The body can contain any number of statements. As I said, body can have, in the previous example which I showed, it has only 2 statements and both are print statements and both are identical statements. It can have any number of statements. The only thing to tell that it is end of the statement for this function is I have to enter, or probably if you are writing a function, you have to enter one more extra line so that it will come back. Okay. Now, in this example, previous example, print twice. This first line is an header, the rest is body. In this header, no parameters. Okay, no parameters. Print twice doesn't take any input value. So I will show you in one example where it takes parameters or arguments. Arguments, parameters, I already gave more clarity. Whatever the value we are passing to the function, they are called arguments. And that function in the parenthesis, the variables, local variables which has been declared, they are called parameters. Okay. Now with this example, we'll get more clarity. Custom function can be called by passing one or more inputs as arguments. Can pass values as arguments. One or more values can be passed as input. They are called arguments. The passed value to the function is called an argument, and the argument is assigned to a variable called parameter. Yeah, this statement requires good analysis, and that analysis will be given by with this example. Now, students try to focus. What I have done is def print twice data. Whatever the data it is data is a variable here. For print twice function, data is a parameter. Data is a parameter, and it prints whatever the data is being. Now data is a local variable to print twice. Okay, local variable. This data is, the scope is only within that body, not outside body. Okay. Now, in the below, what I'm doing is I'm calling that function print twice with some message, right? Today is a beautiful day. That is the message I'm passing. Now, this is the value is being getting passed. How? I'm calling that print twice. First, I have defined that function. It is being defined. Function is already defined. Now I am making use of that function. I'm calling that function. That function, whenever I'm calling, I'm passing some message, some input. That input in this sense, it is, I'm passing input, right? It is an argument. I'm passing one argument to that function. When I pass, the data variable will hold. So this value is copied to data. It is copied to data. Data is a parameter within the defined function. Whenever it is being called, it is an argument here. Okay. And here print twice. What I'm passing rather than just a string, an expression where spam is a string multiplied by 4. Spam is a string multiplied by 4. So it prints spam, spam, spam. This actually, this is actually goes to a data. The data is being evaluated to spam 4 times with the space. You can see there is a space in the ending single quote. There is a space. So that's why spam space like that 4 times. Now the data will be having 4 times spam word delimited or separated with space. Like that it prints twice. That is why it is printed twice. Any doubts, students, with respect to arguments and parameters? Same concept as C, what we learned. Okay. If no doubts, can I move to the next slide? Okay. Now, still, with respect to functions, custom functions with parameters and arguments. Now the topic is variables and parameters which are local. As I told, data is a parameter because it's a input value which will be receiving whenever print twice function is called. And this variable is local to this, only to this. Okay. And I have defined one more function called cat underscore twice. Here in this, there are 2 parameters, part 1, part 2, 2 parameters. And inside that function, which function? Cat underscore twice, I have taken one more variable called cat, and cat equal to part 1 plus part 2. I can make use of this part 1 and part 2. These parameters are having a active scope visibility in this set of statements or within the body. So part 1 plus part 2. What this does, it does a concatenation and it will be stored in cat. I will repeat. Part 1, whatever the value is there, in part 2, it will be concatenated and it will be stored in cat, and I'm trying to display that print twice. What is this print twice? Is again a function. So I have defined 2 functions. Print twice, it just prints whatever it takes. It prints twice. Cat twice, it will take 2 values as input input, and both the values are concatenated and it is passed to print twice. Now, in line 1, I have taken a string. Line 1 is a variable. It has Bing tidal. Line 2 is tidal bank. So, two values I have stored. Now I will call cat twice with line 1 and line 2. Now here line 1 and line 2, these are all arguments. Students, focus. Line 1 and line 2 are arguments. Part 1 and part 2 are parameters. The content of line 1 is copied to part 1. The content of line 2 is copied to part 2. Now Bing tidal bank is concatenated and it became cat. The variable name is cat and that cat is passed to data. Cat is a argument here. Data is a parameter. Now it will print both the data. So we get Bing tidal bank twice. It is twice, and at the end there is a dot also because line 2 has dot. In line 1 there is a space, that is why we can get a space here too. Now data is a variable, it's a parameter but it's a variable. This variable is, the scope is within the body itself. The data is not available inside cat twice function. Similarly, part 1, part 2 and cat variables, these are all actively available within the cat underscore twice function only, means within this body, not available in print twice. Only the data we passed through cat, through arguments we passed that value. So whenever I try to print outside cat, it says that cat is not defined. So to get the understanding of it, what I will do is I'll quickly write this. Okay, so bear some time to get actual understanding about local parameters. What I will do is first I will define print. Print twice is already defined, but I will redefine it because I want to have one parameter. Print twice. I can redefine it. This is the same data. Now automatically it is indent to 4 spaces. Now I will do print data. I will enter again print data. When I enter, it's still expecting me to write a line if it is belonging to that function, but my function statements are over. Again, I will enter, that is print twice definition is defined. Now function print twice is there. Now again, I will define cat underscore twice, because cat keyword I have added because some concatenation is happening. It's not an animal cat, it is concatenation. That is two values are added one after the other, concatenation. That's why it's cat I have taken. And this is part 1 concatenation and this is part 2. So part 1, part 2 are parameters for this function. And then I will taking a local variable equal to part 1 plus part 2. And then pressing enter. Then calling print twice. Whenever the function is called, whatever the value we are passing to that function, they are called arguments. Now here cat is an argument. I will enter. Still it is expecting me to write or add some more statements which are belonging to, but mine is got over. So I will again enter. Now two functions are defined. Custom functions are defined. But line 1, what I will do is line, not just line 1, I can give L1 equal to, within the single quote, I will say Bing tidal and I will give space because after concatenation it has to add that space too. I want that space. Then tidal bank, and instead of then space I will mention Okay. Like L1, L2. Now L1, L2 are variables are available in this interpreter. The values are stored. If I type L1 and enter, I will get the value of L1. If I type L2 and enter, I get the value of L2. Now I will call cat underscore twice, no, with L1. Now L1 is an argument. I'm passing value, right? L1 has some value. L2. And I will do a press enter. And see it displayed. The same output which I've shown. L1, L2 values are local to this session. Means until unless I close this, L1, L2 value will be there. What about data? What about data? If I give data and enter, it says data is not defined. So data is, even though defined in this function, it is only accessible inside this, not outside this. Similarly, part 1, part 2, cat. If I say cat, it says cat is not defined. Even though the variable, it is local to that function. It is local to the function. What about L1? It is local to this session. Till this session. If I close this window, I will lose this function definition also, which has been defined, and also the variables which are declared in this session, right? This is based on session. Clear, students, about what I'm saying? Able to get it? Part 1 not defined, part 2, these are all variables, but these are all actually parameters available only local to that program or probably function. Students, I need a consistently acknowledgement from you. Okay, whenever it's on online, I need acknowledgement, whether when I say it is clear and things like that, yes, no, if it is no, and then I can go in much deeper way. Okay, now we understood about arguments, what are arguments, what are parameters, similar concept as C, and also the local variable concept similar as C. Okay, now again, under the same topic, variables and parameters are local. I'm trying to portray in a stack diagram. Okay, stack diagram, it's a very important thing. What is slash main underscore slash? This is the session which I'm talking. Whenever the program, Python program starts, what are all the things I declared? Even if I take, say L3 is equal to something like good or something, some expression or something. Now L1, L2, L3 will be there always. Even if I type now L1, I will get what is the value. L2, L3, we'll keep on having this value. So till that session get closed, this line 1, line 2 will be bounded with these values. How to tell that? These variables are bounded with these values. Being tidal bang. Okay. Now cat twice is another function. Cat twice is another function, and there are 3 variables: part 1, part 2, and cat. They are bounded with respective values. Part 1 and part 2 received 2 values whenever main is being called. At main level, we called, right, cat twice function with these 2 values. These values are copied. Line 1 is copied to part 1, line 2 is copied to part 2. That's why the same messages it is bound to. Then cat is the concatenation variable after concatenation. So 3 variables. Print twice, it's data, single. But since it is 2-time print statement, it prints twice. So this is the stack diagram which tells about what all the variables are bounded to what values. So this is at the top level, then comes the cat twice, and then comes the print twice. Actually, logically, it should be ulta. Logically, it should be the other way. When I say ulta, it's the other way. So it should be a stack. The base should be the main. Next is cat twice, above that, and then the print twice, it's above cat twice. It's how it is always a stack. pile of files. Stack meaning pile of files, but it's just a logical representation. Right? Any doubts in this? Hope it's pretty clear. Line 1 is at main level, and part 1, part 2 are very local. Part 1, part 2 cat are local variables. Now the next thing is, till now we haven't given any input, or probably never read any input from keyboard. In my previous example, if I go back to this, yes, I have taken an input L1 through variable, and this L1 and L2 are being passed to the custom function or user defined function. Instead, can I write something so that whenever this cat twice, instead of, I don't want any input to be passed here, whatever I write, it concatenates. And then, for example, something like this, I will redefine. Okay, I will redefine cat underscore twice. Here I'm not taking any parameters, means it doesn't take any inputs through function call. Okay, through function call. But however, now what I will do is part 1, I will assign through input statement. Input is a inbuilt function where it reads value from the keyboard. Whenever this function is called, the program will expect user to give the value for that dynamically. Part 2 equal to again input. Then comes my concatenation equal to part 1 plus part 2. Right? That was the program which I wrote. And then I will call print, twice with cat. That is, now this function cat twice is redefined. Whenever I call cat twice, earlier I used to pass value, right? Whenever I call this, see here, it's not printing anything. Instead, the cursor is blinking there, expecting user to give input for part 1. I will say, again, same thing. Idle, okay, with space, and then I will enter. Still it is waiting for give some more input, that is for second input, part 2. Idle bang. Get that? So this is the way, whenever the function is called, what we tried achieving now compared to the previous function, there's in that the values are being passed to that function. But in this case, the values are not being passed to the function, but instead, whenever that function is getting executed, at that time it will wait for the user to give the input, and it will read the input, it will assign. So simple, using input we can read from the terminal, using print we can display on terminal. So it is the contradictory of print. Input function is a contradictory of print. Why I say contradictory? Or the other way. Input, it will read from terminal. Print, it will display on the terminal. Read and write. So any doubts? Clear, right? Things are clear with respect to functions. There are a lot of things to do. Just giving the heads up. Moving again in functions, there were 2 types of functions. Those are library function and user defined functions. And these library functions and user defined functions can be of fruitful function, or it can be a void function. What is void function? Can anyone please? Have you ever come across void? Void. What is the meaning of void? Nothing. Empty. All right. Empty is also acceptable. Empty, void, nothing, empty. Okay. None. It is related to some functions will return something. Means after, it's not about the printing on terminal, displaying on terminal. Some functions when we write will make those functions to solve some specific task. Set of statements will be executed sequentially to perform a specific task, right? After completion of all the statements, after executing all the statements of that particular function, it will come back to the where it is called, right? When it comes back, whether it from there it takes any value or not, means that function returns. If function returns something, then it is a fruitful function. If function doesn't return anything, means it's empty, nothing, then it's a void function. So quickly, cat twice is a fruitful function or a void function? Students, for how many are present? Oh, including me 30, 40 student, including me 40, but 39 are present. So, okay, let me explain again what is fruitful function. Any function if returns a value, then it is a fruitful function. For example, we have seen math log of 10. It calculates, you know, for example, quickly, let me go back to the terminal again. I can't just write math.log because math is not been imported in this session. Math is a module. Now it has been imported. Math.log of 10. Now it gave value. Did I say print? It is displayed on screen. But did I say print? No, right? But still it returned that value. So in this, some calculation happened. After calculation, it returned a value. That's why it is a fruitful function. But in this case, in previous case, cat twice, or probably the other function print twice, it is not, whenever print twice is called, this is where it is calling. Whenever the control comes and execute this, from this function, it returns nothing to cat twice. This is the child function. This is the parent function. Why? This is parent function because this child function is called at parent function, and this child function will just print the data to terminal, but it doesn't return anything to cat twice. How to return? Okay, how to return? So what I will do is I will redefine. I will redefine print twice. Okay, print twice. Data. Okay, data. And I won't print here twice. I will return again data. I received data. I returned the data. After return data, the cursor came here. Ah. Now cat twice. Before that, I have to use definition of cat twice in the bracket. Not uh, taking any input because I will be reading the values from the user through input statement. So part one, okay, part one equal to input, part two equal to input. I've read two inputs. I have concatenated cat equal to part one the first part and followed by second part. Now, when I call, okay, now I will use result, okay, result, some another variable equal to print twice, I pass cat. So what result will be having now? I don't want to print twice here. I will print only once. Okay. At twice. I have given two inputs through input keyword in the cat part 1, part 2. It concatenated to hey what's up. Okay. Now, when this print twice is called with the cat, now what the concatenated value, it came to here and it returned the same thing. It returned the same thing. Did I use the wrong? Yes, I made it as wrong here. All right, so I'll redefine cat. Give me a minute. Redefining the, I'm calling the old function, no print twice, but I have defined it as printn. So typo there. That's why it came twice. Here I have to change it. Okay, I will make it as printn, right? And print result. I will display only once. I don't want twice. Okay, I redefined cat twice. We'll call cat twice. So both the values I've read and kept in part 1, part 2. It concatenated and kept in cat variable name called cat. That is, hey, what's up? I'm not given any space after reading there. That's why it is continuous. Not because I've used plus immediately. No, 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 no. In part 1 itself, when I have read, there is no, I have not, no spaces I have given. After hey double semicolon or exclamatory mark, I'm not given any space. I just pressed enter. That's why there is no space. After concatenation, it is hey what's up, and I passed this value to print twice. It went here, or PRITN underscore twice function. Data came. It returned the same data back to cat twice. Now result will be having same value as cat. Result is a variable, local variable will be having a same value as cat. How? Because this function is returning the same value what it received. So it is now PRITN underscore twice is a fruitful function. It's a fruitful function because it is returning something and I'm trying to display that. I got single output. So now the function which returns any value is a fruitful function, and function doesn't return any value. It is just a void function. This PRITN underscore twice function is a fruitful function because it returns. Let me go and figure it out. This is the fruitful function, but however, this is not a fruitful function. This is not a fruitful function because it is not returning anything. It is just executing these statements and over. Control just comes back without any value taking back. Okay, clear, students? Fruitful functions and void functions. Only 2 students or probably 3 students have replied, and Kushal. Okay, okay, all right. So it's 4:23. What I will do is before going into conditional things, there are few more things about the operators. We have seen plus operator, we have seen subtraction minus operator. We also know slash for division operator and star for multiplication operator. But there is some more few operators which help us to find out slash or division, that is quotient or remainder. No, the quotient and remainder in C, or probably we need a lot of time to explain this, but in quickly I will say in C I have say value, okay, value equal to 23 slash 2. Val will be what? Slash is a division. Probably I will make use of the division symbol is not there. All right. It's a division 23 by 2 and val is teacher. Val will be what value? Quickly. 11. It's not 11.5, right? It is 11 because it is of integer. Okay. Similarly, int rem equal to 23 slash 2 will be what? Or percentage. No, sorry. Rem will be what? Correct. Kushal, correct. Vishnu, right. 1. It's a reminder. Modulus, it's a modulus operator. It will give a reminder. This is an operator. It's a binary operator which has 2 operands, left and right. This is value, this is value. In C, it is integer. This is also integer. And whatever it calculates, it is trying to hold in integer. Even if I give float, it will give, if you have consistently in C, if it will, even it is float, it will give val will be 11.0 because first integer divided by integer is always gives an integer and then it is converted into float, that is 11 only output 11.00 is the val value. So operands plays a major role what type of data type it is to figure out. So in slash modulus it is very clear in C, but in Python we are not saying it is of type float or it is type of integer. It is dynamic. Whatever the value we are trying to assign will give that data type. So modulus operator, quickly examples I have given. Before coming to modulus operator, with respect to division only, reminder, if I want to calculate a reminder, minutes, whatever the minutes is there minus hours into 60, I will get the reminder. For example, I have taken minutes as 105 variable and minutes are divided by 60, I will get 1.75. Even though 1.75 is in decimal, doesn't matter for Python because my minutes is also a 105 and what I meant is 105 divided by 60 will give 1.75. But in C, it gives just 1 because both the operands are integer type. But in Python, it doesn't work like that. So it is 1.75. Now to fetch this one separately and reminder in whole number, how to do that? So how to do that? Minutes 105 double slash 60. There is an operator 105 double slash 60 will fetch me the quotient, that is just 1. It is divisible by 1. It is maximum, it is divisible by 1, not more than 1. That is the understanding. If I give 125 /60, it says divisible by 2, and the remainder is 5. How to get that 5 remainder? What I have to do? To get that remainder, I have to do a minus and then multiply this fraction part. Again, I have to multiply by 0. 125 by 60. I will get points. No, this is a big number. What I will do is 0.75 multiplied by 60. So this is the actual reminder. Just a second, students. Yeah, sorry, students. So how to get reminder, how to get quotient, we saw that. No, reminder takes lot of pain. Quotient is just double slash. So for reminder, I have to do all these things. That is minus r's, and that is 105 minus 60 into 60. Whatever this will get out, I will get the reminder. So instead of doing that, we can just make use of modulus operator, which is same as in C. So we'll get 45. In the sense 105 modulus 60. I will get 45 directly. I don't have to take the fraction part, that is 0.75, and again multiply by 60 to get 45. To get the quotient, double slash. For to get the remainder, it is modulus operator. These are the two things. And Python gives this. And with respect to other things, I will take it in the next class. All right. Okay. So next class, yeah, before leaving next class, if possible, I would like to take class on Saturday also. I'm a bit occupied. I will let you know through the official group, WhatsApp group. All right. Thanks, students, for joining and having some patience for almost an hour. See you soon.